What's good, people? Izzy Max here, back again. This is week 2 of season 4. If you notice on the layout, it does say Blue Division. So this is going to be a little bit different than last week. We are only going to go over Blue Division matches. So with that being said, I am only joined this week with Matt. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm doing great. And it also says season 4 this time on the title card.
Yeah, I fixed that. And and week 2. Like I am on my game this week.
It works. It's there.
Before we get started, we're going to preface this by this is going to be a short video. First of all, we only have 4 matches. One of them was a forfeit. One of them was a blowout. We'll kind of get to. Me and Matt talked before recording. We don't really see a way around it. And we have 2 really good matches that will break down a little bit more in depth than usual, just to kind of fill some time. But without further ado, the first match we had, didn't have, was Toxic versus Dark. This was just a timing issue. If you schedule a time, make sure you're at least around that time to be ready. Don't just come in an hour later and just say, my bad. I get it, you know. Sometimes things pop up, but when they do, make sure somebody knows. But what you're seeing on the screen, we do have their pastes. We may or may not release them. We don't really know. But this is the 6 that would have been brought. Not really much to say. Matt, what do you got? I don't know.
I don't really have too many thoughts on this, since we don't know if we want to talk about what's actually on the paste. So I'll just take a look at these 12 mons here. I've always been really high on Toxic's team, and I think this comp, maybe minus the Arc Result, is really solid into what Dark is bringing, and his whole draft in general. I think the Arc Result, I suppose I kind of get it. It's probably your best thing to hit the Corviknight. Maybe the I don't know if you have anything for hail, or if you just want to scarf it, or what. Like, maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe Crowback gets hail. It gets Sunny Day and Rain Dance, so who knows. But I like Psy Spam mode is just hits hard into virtually everything. The Zapdos helps out a lot with the Urshifu. That's gonna fuck up the Psy Spam mode pretty good. The Crobat and Digger's Bee combo helps a lot with the Victini. That's kind of what the matchup looks like to me.
Yeah. I do see that Urshifu is gonna cause a huge problem.
Yeah.
And then seeing the Slurpuff and not anything else, you're probably gonna guess it's Psychic Seed, so it's gonna be fast as hell. This would have been an interesting match to watch.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential for Dark to take advantage of Toxic's terrain, like you said, with the Psychic Seed, and also with his own expanding force on Victini, probably.
And then we see the Squirtle. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's really it. We just know the 12, and that's about it. Sad this match didn't get played, because I do think it would have been interesting. Not a clear winner based on the 6 we see. I do think there's a lot of counterplay on each side, but that's really about it. Our next one, yes, this is an 8-0, and no fault to Tay, I will honestly say. Yes, I'm rhyming, I'm sorry. But me and Matt talked before we started recording. There's really not a clear way to work around this 8-0. Going down Tay's squad, there's just not a horse answer. If you don't have it, Matt, you ran horse in that high roller league. You know, if you don't have an answer to it, it just kind of goes in.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I definitely had 1 week that felt like that, and I played the battle, and that was absolutely correct.
Yeah.
You know, horse just it rolls over teams that don't have an answer for it. That's for damn sure.
And on top of Tay having to prep for a rain mode and then just follow me, whatever, I just don't see, maybe not an 8-0, maybe you could fix a couple things, but I just don't know how Tay actually would have worked around this game, because he knew, like, going in, he asked me, he's like, hey, what do I do? This is going to be weakness policy horse. How do I handle it? And I even looked at his team. I said, man, I don't know. So we did see some wacky stuff out of this set. which I think you kind of had to in order to even do anything, because honestly, the standard stuff wouldn't have cut it. Obviously, the wacky stuff didn't really cut it. But Tay still knocking the rust off. I mean, hell, he's been out of it for a whole year. And Ice Horse is not a way to knock rust off. So, Matt, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think you covered most of it. It's definitely a rough team matchup for Tay. I think the really dramatic differentials here is an illustration of not only the team matchup, but I also think of some mistakes that it looked like Tay was making in his play. There were a couple of turns where he really should have been redirecting with the Tangrowth instead of just clicking Synthesis, especially when Hail was like already up. That seemed kind of strange. If you're expecting a weakness policy horse, you know that the Aromatisse has to have something to proc it. It has at least two different moves that it can do to use to do that, Gyro Ball and Drain Punch, so you have to know that something like that's coming, and he still didn't try to Rage Powder that away from the horse. That seemed kind of strange to me. He seemed to be doing at least okay. I think it was game 1 where he was trying to cycle Intimidates in and out with the Luxray. It wasn't really enough. And then game 2, I don't know, it's hard to tell because his team just kind of folded to the horse, but it was almost like he kind of gave up. He just kind of, it feels like he just let the horse do whatever it wanted to do.
Oh no, 100%.
That's sort of my take.
He gave up. He didn't max in either game. Well, because his max option died too early. But again, even if it's not an 8-0, I don't see how Tay gets out of this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
But moving on, we can actually start diving into some more complex things. But here you go. This is my game against Gumi.
Okay. So this was a very interesting game. Game 1, I thought it was very interesting how both of you came out with very, very similar leads. You had an offensive, kind of bulky, kind of fast mid speed tier kind of Mon as your max option, next to some tailwind support with some offense. So we had the Mamoswine and Tornadus versus Mamoswine Latias versus Tornadus and Volcanion. The first couple of turns, there was some good back and forth. I really liked the Max Strike tech from Gumi. He knew that he wanted Volcanion to be part of this fast mode, but it's like base 70. It's not that fast, so he's got to have a little bit of something extra to pick up the slack. So I thought the Tailwind Max Strike followed by the Rain Dance Geyser was a pretty cool combination. I was definitely surprised by the KO on the Mamoswine. That seemed to be, when I was watching this for the first time, that KO seemed to be the turning point of the battle, where momentum seemed to shift to Gumi's side. It seemed like he was in a great position after that. He was, just set up to get at least one more KO with Volcanion's last max turn. And then Electivire came in and actually surprised me with its damage output. I mean, that Volcanion was still at half HP Dynamax. I was not expecting the Electivire to actually do that much damage to it. It's got a fat defense stat. That thing could take some hits. But once the Volcanion went down, I believe he scored a double KO.
I did. Thunderbolt on the water
turn
picked up the Tornadus.
Yeah. So the momentum just shifted right back, and your Melmetal was able to clean up because you just had Grimmsnarl and Avalugg in the back, which is I get what he's going for with that combination. I'm not sure it was the best bring here in either game or in this set at all. So it was kind of easy for you to clean that stuff up at the end of game 1, since you just had the Melmetal come out there.
Real quick. The kill on the Mamoswine was a 19% roll.
Oh yes, yeah. Oh, I did want to go back to that as well. I'm assuming that was Pasho Berry with thick fat, correct?
Yeah, it was Pasho, thick fat, and a large bit of bulk. Um,
Right.
I
Okay.
had to do that in order to live. Um, I calc that the rain hit with Pasho from max steam eruption. Um, I
Right.
couldn't if I max bulked it, I 100% live, but I didn't two shot with max quake, and I had to two shot with max quake, and I also played around the Shuckaberry, which was maybe a mistake because I could have got the Spadef boost and then it was just guaranteed. But I had to play around like a weakness policy or a Shuckaberry. But Shuckaberry,
Yeah.
not weakness policy.
Right. Yeah. I think that's fair, and recognizing that you still should have gone with the Quake, I think is good good awareness on your part. But I was gonna about that mammoth swine with the thick fat Pasho Berry combination. I just really like that into Volcanion, um, since both of its stabs are super effective, and you have one thing that covers one and another thing that covers the other. That just seemed cool. I like that bit of prep against Gumi. Um, moving into game two, I think Gumi, you brought the same four. Gumi's Mon choice, he switched things up a little bit, and I think he kind of made the right decision and kind of made the wrong decision. He brought out the Avalugg Grimmsnarl up front this time, which just didn't really. I don't think Avalugg had the matchup here, especially when you're not putting it in Trick Room and you're going up against a Melmetal that just it's it doesn't seem great, and we saw during the battle exactly why. The Melmetal just mopped that thing up in both games.
Real quick, for
Um,
people not that didn't watch this, first of all, go watch it. It was a great game. I brought the same four, but my lead was different.
right, right. Yeah, I just wanted to more
Yeah.
highlight that you went with the same four and Gumi switched things up a little bit. And the reason I say that Gumi's Mon change was partially the right decision is because he brought the wishy-washy into game two, which I think looking at both teams on paper, all 11 Mons that each of you has, I think I understand why Gumi went into this match not really feeling like he had a good matchup, but the max wishy-washy in Trick Room I actually thought was probably the best mode that he had, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a wishy-washy stan. I believe that. But the problem is, I think he prioritized the wrong mode. I don't like the Avalugg matchup here. I think I'm speculating here, but I think maybe he was a little too high on the Avalugg hype from week one because it definitely went off against John last week, but it just kind of folded here because it didn't have a good matchup, and then he was sort of out of position with his Trick Room mode, and he couldn't get Runerigus and Wishy-Washy on the field to set up Trick Room and start sweeping at the same time, so that was a little bit awkward. He ended up maxing the big fish outside of Trick Room, which still did pretty well. It's a really fat mon. It just refused to take damage, and it had some decent coverage for your team. And toward the end of the game, you even had to hack him out a little bit to ensure that you took the game. So I do really wonder what would have happened if he had prioritized this Trick Room mode with the Wishy-Washy and tried to support the Runerigus well enough to get Trick Room up and then get Wishy-Washy in there to sweep, especially because he had that fake tears on Runerigus, which I think is fantastic. We saw how much work Wishy-Washy did even outside of Trick Room. I think inside of Trick Room it was probably his best answer against your team, but it didn't exactly pan out that way. So those are my thoughts. What do you think, Maxwell?
Yeah, so there was a fair bit of RNG, but I think it was very evenly spread. And let me kind of explain. So in game one, the incredibly low, like we calced it. There was only 2 rolls that he could hit to actually KO my Mamoswine, and he hit it. So that there's a little bit of RNG there. And then of course I get the flinch on the Runerigus in game 2, which ultimately sealed it up. I did still have the Pasho and full health Mamoswine, and I was at like +2 with the Quakes. So I would have lived a hit from the Wishy-Washy. Don't know how the game would have went, because I would have still had my Melmetal. You know, he would have had to target me a little bit weird. And then the Avalugg had Icicle Spear, and it had to hit 4 times in order to KO my Lottie, and it did. Because if it didn't, my Lottie was KOing it that same turn. And then, we don't know if this one mattered, but I got the crit Wild Charge through the Yachi on the Wishy-Washy on the last turn, but the Wishy-Washy was under half. We didn't calc it.
I did calc that.
Okay.
It mattered.
Okay. It was still a 2v1, so like,
yeah,
it mattered, but it really didn't. But other than that, I do think the RNG was mostly even. I was surprised in game 2 when he did lead with the Avalugg, because if you look, you know, Armaldo can chunk it. Granted, I know it's all physical damage, but you don't want to be taking a double Iron Bash, especially if you're not weakness policy. And I really played around it if you watch the game. I played around weakness policy incredibly hard.
I think that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I think you were right to do that.
Yeah. So, you know, I was hitting it with Max Quakes or high horsepowers, not really dealing with it directly. And then the Volcanion Tornadus was so good. The Max Strike, as surprising as it was so good. I was surprised when I seen it, because I was like, okay, he's setting Tailwind, he's going to hit me, my Pasho is going to make me live, I'm going to set my Tailwind, hit him with a Quake, and then I'm faster naturally, so I'm just going to hit him with another Quake and win. Because after that, you really don't have an answer for a Max Mamoswine based on what he had. But the Max Strike really did it for him there. And yeah, I mean, he played phenomenally well. As weird as the Avalugg was, I understand it. After we were talking after the game, and he said he should have maxed the Avalugg early in game 2, which fair, I guess, but I have ways around that. I can hit it, and you're not weakness policy, so yeah, I think he was AV. Nothing on my team was special this week other than the Latios and Pelipper, but I don't know. I think it was just a very good game. Yes, there was some RNG, but I think it was decently even. Mine was a little bit more important with the flinch on the Trick Room, but yeah. I don't really know what else to say on this one. It was just a solid set. Hey, have I made you a believer in Mamoswine yet? I've maxed it 3 of my 5 times I can.
Yeah, but
remember
what I said
4
about...
of my 5. 4 of my 5.
Remember what I said about it being difficult to get the right defensive calcs on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that here.
It's a freaking Volcanion in the rain. As close as I got, I was surprised.
Oh, I know. It's just, I mean, for me, I like my defensive calcs to come out to, 100% survival.
Oh, I could have.
Crit, so I'm aware, but it takes a lot. Well, you know what? We can dive deeper into the Mamoswine some other time. I will say that it's better here than it was on my team against the opponents that I was going up against.
Fair enough. And then our last one, Hector versus Anthony. You look at the differential here. This game was only a 2-game set. There was some really good counterplay from each side. When I seen the differential before I seen the game, And I thought, oh, okay, you know, three games. You look at the time of the video. Oh, okay, 3 games. No, hell no. First game went to time, and I think it was the Venusaur and the Appleton in game 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, and neither of them could really do damage to the other. The Appleton was set up with amnesias, and then Appleton really doesn't have anything to hit a Venusaur. So it just took it to time. Anthony ended up winning that one. But in game 2, I think there was a mistake on Hector's end, more towards the end of the game, where he set up an amnesia, got hit with a Moonblast, and dropped the special attack, which is unfortunate. Instead of attacking, he goes to set up another amnesia because he's going to live the Moonblast, but then the special attack drops again. And then seeing the damage, because I think they were in Trick Room, after seeing the damage from the Apple Acid, I think he might have just straight up KO'd without the -2. Tell me if I'm wrong on that one. I'm not sure because I didn't run it, but seeing the damage, I was kind of suspicious to see if that would actually KO.
I would be surprised. I know that the DNC had a little bit of damage on it. I think it got hit by a Gleam from Togekiss.
Yeah, it was a crit Gleam. The Deancey was at close to half.
Right. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't remember that end game all that well. But I mean, Deancey's pretty fat. I'd be surprised if it went down to that in one shot, even from the range it was at.
Yeah. Also, the special attack drop is just debilitating when you're fighting that hard and you get into a situation like that and you just get 2 special attack drops. It just kind of sucks. But no, this was a super clean set from both. I mean, you see all the modes and intricate things that Anthony has. You know, you got the Sun mode, double Prankster, and then you got Trick Room. Not really a Trick Room mode, just a Trick Room option, I guess. I was surprised to see the Barraskewda Max game 1. Granted, you know, it does honestly hit everything because, I mean, it's a Barraskewda. Its move pool is decently large. But I feel like Anthony played around that really well, got him into a position where timeout is honestly a win con if you can recover as much health as you could. But yeah, I watched this game, but I didn't really study it. Well, tell me what you got out of this one.
Well, I actually wanted to. I'm glad you mentioned the timer because I actually wanted to touch on that a little bit. I have some minor criticisms about on each side of this match, and on Hector's side, I think it was kind of how he played the end game, which kind of goes into what I was going to say about the timer. I found it a little bit weird what exactly he was doing there at the end game. Looking back, I wonder if he was just trying to get rid of the Ninetales as fast as possible because he thought the game was a lost cause and he just wanted a differential point. But I think if you're going for the win, you want to set up amnesias as quickly as possible just to increase your survivability. Probably set up all of them at once before you do anything, especially because you have leftovers recovery. Because the sludge bombs are going to be doing a lot of damage to you.
Wasn't the Ninetales locked into Solar Beam?
Yes, which is like it wasn't a threat. You should really just leave it there to farm Leech Seed health. And then once you've got a Leech Seed set up on it, start Apple Aciding into the Venusaur to drop its special defense, and eventually you can, chip it down after a while you're recovering from leftovers and Leech Seed. So I think that's your path to victory. If Hector was just going for a differential point there, then fair enough, because I do think even if you played that correctly, it probably would have been pretty difficult to actually pull out the win like that. I don't know that there was really enough time because it's the timer's a little bit different with the battle tower rules that we're using because of these mythicals. There's no your time anymore. It's just a straight 60-second turn timer every turn, so it becomes much easier to timer stall if that's something that if you're in a situation where you need to do that. So it was very easy for Anthony to start doing that. Once he saw like the 3-minute warning, I think is when probably when he started stalling. And at that point, you don't really have to stall much. It's like 2 turns play out their maximum, and then you can wind it down and you're done. So keep that in mind for anybody who's thinking of some kind of stally strategy at some point. The battle tower rules that we're using definitely make that harder to pull off. So that's all I got
So
there. I
don't
think
do
there
it.
was yeah, probably don't do it. I mean, unless you're confident that you have a game plan where it's actually going to work and you can start the stalling quickly enough. Maybe you have some super offensive stuff up front and getting the KOs that you need, and then the stally thing in the back is just unkillable, and then maybe that works if you can do it quickly enough. But yeah, timer stalling is easier this season than it was in any other MDL season because of the rule set that we have to use. The only criticism I guess I have on Anthony's side, it's also kind of a minor one. I thought he was a little bit reckless with his Dynamax mons. I thought in game 2 maybe there was a spot where he maybe should have max guarded when he was going to get blown back by an airstream from the Togekiss. I believe they were speed tying. I think they were both timid max speed, which makes sense here. I think that's probably what you have to do in a Togekiss Venusaur kind of situation, because they both hit each other super effectively. They both want to go fast one way or another. They're the same base speed. It's an awkward matchup. But max guard there might have been good. I think also in game 1, the Ninetales Hypnosis turn seemed a little bit odd to me. It seemed a little bit it seemed safer to just go for the Heat Wave and just take out the Togekiss rather than having an extra 30% chance to miss. I'm not sure. I think Anthony may have been overestimating Barraskewda's bulk there, because I think a Giga Drain from the Comfey and a crit max move from the Togekiss would have actually killed the max Barraskewda. So depending on investment on the 2 mons, I mean, the crit max move might have actually killed even without a Giga Drain. So I think it would have been safer to just balk the Togekiss, because otherwise you're risking losing your big Dynamax fish there. But those are the only real criticisms I have. It's also entirely possible for Barraskewda to survive, so
yeah,
it might not be that big of a deal.
It would be interesting to see if the Togekiss never falls asleep. If that hypnosis just misses, I think we might be looking at a different game. But that's the risk you run when you're running Scarf Ninetales with hypnosis. Which another question: why Scarf though? Ninetales is what, base 100, base 101, something like that?
Yes. I think it was mainly just for situations kind of like that, where something had a speed boost, like the Togekiss. I have to take another look at Hector's team to see what else he might have been trying to cover for.
Yeah, because if I remember right.
Oh, Scarf Darmanitan. He was trying to cover for Scarf Darmanitan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I can see that then. Never mind. Redact my opinion then.
Yeah, and I do also like the Hypnosis on there for kind of the same reason that I liked Hypnosis on Crobat last season when I was in playoffs. It's kind of like an oh shit button when something's just way too big of a threat. Even if you're Scarfed, like if there's like a, I don't know, weakness policy boosted Regirock on the field, and you're like, damn, this thing's gonna kill everything, and I don't have anything to touch it right now. Maybe you just put it to sleep if that's your best option. So I like having the option there.
Oh yeah, no, I do as well. It was just kind of because I think it was just straight up turn 1, wasn't it?
No, it was turn 2. The Hector killed the Riolu, and then Anthony came in with the Scarf Ninetales, which was faster than the +1
Got it.
Togekiss. So yeah.
All right. I mean, hey, it was a good game nonetheless. I mean, you see it when you have a
Yeah.
differential less than 3. 3 or less, I consider it a really good game. 4 to 5, 6 through 8, yikes. There's my
Especially
scale.
those 8s, man.
Yeah. But anyway, this was our week. 3 games. 2 really good ones. One I think is going to be a good learning step for Tay. Again, knocking the dust off. But that's going to do it for us. Any last words on this one?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. So we will see you in the next one. Peace.